This is our first podcast, and it is called That's Unfortunate, because we say that a lot.
I'm Courtney.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Courtney.
Well, I am a dancer, was a dancer for the majority of my life. Now I still teach dance, and I work at a preschool.
She's much more interesting than me. My name is Torrie, and I am a waitress. I'm also a streamer, and I play video games, and now I have a podcast.
We have a podcast.
We have a podcast. This podcast is just going to be us talking about what's going on in our lives, books that we've read, that we've liked, and that we've hated, and maybe reading some Reddit stories. We might do a book club. I was thinking about we could do a book club, because I've been talking about doing a book club for a long time. Say book club another time.
Yeah.
And
that would be cool. Within the podcast?
Within the podcast.
That would be really
pod.
Cool.
And then we could read the book and just kind of converse about it. And, you know, eventually, if people start watching, they could read the book with us.
They could. That would be so nice.
Yeah. But anyways, what would we like to start with today?
Oh my goodness, because we have so many things to talk about.
We do have so many things to talk about. We used to walk. Actually, yeah.
We should talk. Yeah. How did we start?
Let's talk about how we started. How we met.
Well, once upon a time.
So in January, so we've only been friends for less than a year, but it feels like a lot longer than that.
We met more than a year ago, though.
Yeah.
At your house, at your Halloween party.
So she has a boyfriend.
I do have a boyfriend that I moved to Tennessee.
Yes.
To be with.
Oh my
from
gosh,
Texas.
That's a great story.
That's a big part. Yeah.
Yes. So she moved here to be with her boyfriend, and then I'm friends with him, and then that's how we met. But I started wanting to walk at the park for exercise in January, and I was like, hey, do you want to come walk with me?
We should talk slightly about that first time, because the first time we walked was wonderful and amazing, but before, I was so anxious because I didn't really know you.
You had come to a couple parties, so we had met a couple times, just like a normal way that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Just like normal general conversations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But so whenever I asked if you wanted to go walk, we were both so nervous. Because it felt like a first date or something.
It did. And then we get to the park, and one of the first conversations was, "Isn't this weird? It feels like we're on a first date."
Yeah.
I was nervous to go meet you, basically, to spend time with you.
Even though we'd met, a couple times before. Mm-hmm. It felt so weird.
Yeah.
Not weird in a bad way, just oh, why am I so nervous? Mm-hmm. It really felt like a first date.
Yeah. Because adult friendships, that doesn't happen that often, or at least I haven't experienced that a lot, gaining a new friendship as an adult. So it does feel different and abnormal.
Yeah. And we dove right into it.
We did. Within 20 minutes, we were talking about some deep stuff.
Because that's, when you're walking, you're kind of trauma dumping and word vomiting. So if you need to become closer with a friend, you should really start just walking.
Yeah. Or even just talking on the phone while you walk.
Yeah.
So you can talk to somebody.
Yeah.
It feels like it all comes out whenever you're exercising. Mm-hmm. Everything.
Maybe because you're distracted by the movement of your body.
So you don't feel as awkward as just sitting and talking.
Yeah. Well, today, as you know.
I know.
My husband's business burned down, where he is a mechanic. And as it was on fire and smoke was pouring out of the doors, this woman was like, hey, my car's in there. Y'all were putting tires on it. Can you get my car out?
Oh, wow.
And Aaron was like, which car is it? And she was like, that one. It had one tire on. So Aaron went in there and started putting the tires on this woman's car.
In smoke
and fire.
Have you seen the movie, the TV show, This Is Us?
Yes. I thought about that.
I would be panicking. That's crazy. He's okay?
I'm assuming he's not home yet. But he was okay. It was the last time I spoke to him, but like,
Right.
how
Selfish.
selfish of that lady. Like, I get it's your car, but like, you know, the business has insurance. Your car will get replaced.
Yeah, it's a material thing versus a human's life.
Yeah.
Potentially.
And I haven't...
that woman has not seen This Is Us.
No. But I didn't watch This Is Us, but I did see that clip on TikTok.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it's like, it comes in part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5.
You have to click on the person's page to watch 5 parts.
Yes. And TikTok used to not do this, but it has this new thing. Well, it's not new, but it's fairly new. But if you click on their page, it'll say recently watched, and you can click that little button, and it puts you down to the bottom of their page where you watched it, because maybe they posted 100 videos since that you saw that video.
I don't use a TikTok at all.
Yes.
Which is something we will talk about. But I do use Instagram. And so I scroll until I find Just Watched. Because it does like a little screen that does Just Watched. That would be so magical if I didn't have to do that.
That's how TikTok used to be. And then...
Right, but Instagram is behind.
Right, yes.
Continually.
Courtney is chronically not online.
Yeah.
She has an Instagram, and that is it. Mm-hmm. Which is...
Does Snapchat count as social media too? Because I really only use it to talk to friends, like to send you a snap here and there, and to view snaps. I don't use it for much else. I feel like that's more like...
I mean, it is, because you're talking to, like, your friends through it, but it's not like a... I guess it's just a little bit of a different version of it.
Mm-hmm. So I do have that, though, if that counts.
Yeah. So she has Instagram and Snapchat. But I am chronically online. And that is one thing we talked about. Maybe me, like, explaining one little thing of... like online drama to her that she's not a part of, because there are times where people will start arguing online, and then like the whole of the internet takes sides.
Right. And you're so much a part of the tea.
Yes.
And
I
not.
I will deep dive into these situations.
I watched a show where it's called The Orville.
Okay.
On Hulu. And it's like humans several hundred years from now. So we've got space travel, and there's a million different planets that have a lot of people. And one of the planets, their entire world, they're basically human people, but their entire world uses basically social media to do everything. So like their government, their money system, everything is social media led. And they have little voter cards on their arm, on their chest, that says how many upvotes and how many downvotes they have. And that's what they have for their entire life. And that's how they are allowed to, like, buy a coffee. Or if they do something embarrassing online, like somebody videotapes them and they get a bunch of downvotes, that's their legal system.
Whoa.
Where they might potentially be unalived for that. Like if they do something embarrassing. And so... recently, when you've talked about stuff like that, about like social media and a lot of people coming together, that's what I think of. And it scares me. What if that's what we turn into?
Yeah, we might.
It feels kind of like that's happening.
Yeah. Have you seen that movie? It had like Jake Paul in it. What you said kind of reminded me of it. They killed everybody that wasn't smart, basically. So
oh, wow.
You went through like your whole school at the end of... and every year you would take a test. And if you didn't score a certain score, they just killed you.
They just unalived you.
Unalived you. Jake, the person that Jake Paul was playing.
Wild that he's an actor. Didn't know that.
Yeah. I guess he just used to be. Or
didn't he start out on YouTube?
Vine, I think.
Oh, okay. That checks.
Vine, and then went into YouTube.
Anyway.
He was the president's son or something, so...
He was not smart enough, but
well,
they kept him.
I think he was smart, but he was in love with this girl, and she didn't pass one year. He was mad. So the next year, he failed on purpose, and so he got
put... see what his dad would do. The president.
Yeah, the president. And turns out he just passed him anyways. He was pissed again, and so he ended up still going, and some other stuff happened. But the premise of the movie was interesting. Is the point. Mm-hmm. Was it a great movie? I would not say that. But
it was a movie, though.
It was a movie, and an interesting concept. All right, let me tell you about the people who came into my employment area.
Okay.
I worked a double yesterday. So usually our restaurant is not open in the morning, but the people had bought it out. Mm-hmm. And it was 100 people, and there was 4 servers, which should have been fine because all the food was
pre-planned, right?
Pre-planned. No one got to order anything per se.
Did they have options, or it was just...
No options. It was just like set things and kind of family style.
Okay.
And, we poured them all water before they got there. And I guess they really didn't have the option for alcohol. But no one ordered alcohol. It was like a work Christmas party. So, I'm assuming...
So they're trying to be a little more official, potentially.
Yeah, and I'm assuming maybe they had to go back afterwards. I don't know, because it was it started at 11.
Okay. Yeah, nobody needs to get drunk on what was that, Thursday morning? And then go back to work.
Thursday morning, yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't have Coke or anything because the lines were being maintenance or whatever. So they had the option of water and tea. But we were trying to keep it just water because there was 100 of them and 4 of us.
Okay.
And so we didn't offer them the tea. It's just if they asked for a different beverage, we would give them the option. We have tea.
Okay.
So, whatever. 100 of them. And they were so needy for no reason. They wanted a straw. So I'd bring a straw, and then the next person at the table would be like, "Can I have a straw?" So I'd be like, "Does anybody else need straws?"
Yeah.
And nobody would say anything, so I'd bring a second straw, and they're like, "Oh, I want a straw." Well, I just asked if you want a straw. There are 100 people here, and I'm trying to do my best. Mm-hmm. They wanted paper napkins instead of the cloth napkins, a lot of people. And so they would stop you by grabbing you, which, I feel like we learned early on in life, keep your hands to yourself.
Mm-hmm. I also feel like touching people without consent is a thing that we don't do anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, please do not grab me. Well, then somebody said, "Can I have a Coke?" And I was like, "Oh, well, we have tea."
Oh, no.
She was like, "Oh, well, I'll take that." Okay, brought the tea. A frenzy began. Mm-hmm. Everyone saw the tea, needed the tea. Mm-hmm. Proceeded to order 21 of them. Not an exaggeration. I took an order for 21 sweet teas.
Amazing.
Which, okay, they did pay them money. They should be able to have, a drink. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But they did the same thing with the straw situation. It was 1 tea and then 2 teas, and then I would come back and they'd be like, "Can we have 7 more teas?" And then by the end of it, there were at least 80 teas. Going on between
plus
the 4
waters
of us.
That were already there, right?
Plus waters that were already there. And at one point, they got an appetizer, and then they got salad, and then they got entrees, and then they got dessert. Mm-hmm. So the appetizers were past apps, so it was appetizers that you walk around with on a tray and just "Would you like a crab cake, madam?" And then you give them yes or no.
Madam,
my lady. And so that was fine. Well, and then after all of those were gone, some maybe 5 or 6 people trickled in. Mm-hmm. Hey, can I have a crab cake?
Oh,
well, the
no.
crab cakes are gone because you've missed that portion of the afternoon. Yeah. You were late. And then but people asked periodically up until the actual entrees. They were like, "You got more crab cakes back there?" I was like, "No, we don't have any more crab cakes back there."
We didn't just hide a few crab cakes away.
I did eat one.
5 people that were going to be late.
Felt incredibly guilty. That could have been.
You did?
That could have been a crab cake for that lady who asked me for one.
Nah, don't feel guilty
I don't
for
feel
that.
guilty at all because of what happened next.
Oh man.
So then salad comes. Well, it's this preset salad It's a field green salad. We've talked about this before. It's just like greens, a balsamic, goat cheese, pickled red onion, pecan.
Delicious.
Delicious. Well, then they were like, oh, can I have some dressing? And we're like, well, there's dressing on the salad. Would you like some extra? Well, I also have to get 84 teas going. Let me help you with that. And then they're like, no, can we have some ranch? Well, you're not going to want ranch on that.
Gross.
There's already balsamic on there.
Goat cheese and ranch.
Or red wine vinegar. And I was just like, sure. So I go, I get her the ranch. She didn't eat it at all. Probably because ranch is disgusting. After you have, I mean, I'm assuming. I don't know.
Right, with vinegar.
With the vinegar. So, you know, salads happen. I throw away so much food. Like, I feel like weird about how much food that I threw away. And the salad is good. So I don't, some of you didn't even have a bite of it. But whatever. And then the entrees happen. Also, the host keeps getting up and like being like, hey, we need this. Hey, we need that. And I'm just like, and the host was also at my table, so that was even worse. So it looked like I was doing a bad job, but like I wasn't. She was just
being extra.
Like, have a seat. Enjoy your time. It will happen.
It's a restaurant. It's okay.
Yeah. And, you know, she gets up. She does some announcements. She talks about, you know, they're doing a costume contest. They're dressed up in Santa stuff. A few of them.
At this restaurant they are?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
And not all of them are, like, Santa themed, but, like, red, glittery shirts.
Oh, my gosh.
You know.
So fancy.
A vibe. And they take a number at some point. They do a game.
Oh, wow.
Where they have to, like, answer Christmassy questions.
With 100 people. That's impressive.
With 100 people. And they were mostly women, interestingly enough. Mostly women, maybe, like, I'd say 15 men. Max.
What type of business was it? Like, don't say the business, but what type of business?
Human resources. We're taking all the food out. I lay them on the tables. They get, like, it was chicken and shrimp and grits. And so I got chicken, shrimp and grits. And the big tables of 10 got 2 plates of each. The smaller tables of 4 or 5 got 1 plate each. So I put them down, and then I walked back by, and she's like, I didn't get shrimp and grits. And I was like, it's like I see the plate right there. It's empty. You ate them all. Y'all ate them all. But you did get them. And I'm holding another plate of shrimp and grits in my hands, but I'm taking it to a table that it's already allotted to. And so I was like, oh, well, let me go check, like, make sure this isn't supposed to go to one of these tables specifically. Because, like, if I give you these shrimp and grits, somebody else doesn't have shrimp and grits. Like, a table of 10 doesn't have shrimp and grits. And then I got to go to the kitchen and be like, hey, any more shrimp and grits? Because I just gave this away. Then they're going to cuss me out. Because cooks are mean. Mad. And I'm scared. And so and then I go back and I kind of just like, that lady got her shrimp and grits. They've already paid. So, like, what the food, whoever set this up agreed to the food situation.
The food that was made is what was going out. That's all. Yeah. And
so I go back and, you know, I'm just like, okay, you know, they'll eat. It'll be fine. And then she pops back up. Excuse me, ma'am. She's complaining. She's saying that she never got her shrimp and grits. She needs her shrimp and grits. She told her server. Server didn't do anything about it. I'm standing there like, oh. And so I'm like, okay. So we get her some more shrimp and grits. The manager apologizes. And, whatever, it's fine. Then the manager walks back by, like, 10 minutes later. And she goes, excuse me, ma'am. I never got my shrimp and grits. So now there are 2 empty plates of shrimp and grits on her table. And the manager's like visibly seeing the plate of shrimp and grits. She was like, that was shrimp and grits. She was like, no, we never got them. I've been waiting on them. So then they give her a 3rd plate of shrimp and grits.
That was nice of them.
Very nice. But also, like, I think that they got billed extra afterwards. Then another lady grabs me as I'm walking by.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am. Your handicap bathroom is disgusting. Oh, that's interesting. Because it was clean.
Right.
About about 4 or 5 minutes ago. So I said, okay, let me check that out for you. Someone has shit all over the toilet seat. And this is something that has plagued my life. Why are people, anytime I go into a public restroom and there is shit on the toilet seat, who are you?
How?
How and why?
What is wrong?
Sit your butt down. I don't.
Does that mean that someone is hovering?
Someone is hovering and pooping. They have to be, because why? And the pelvic strength it has to take for you to be able to hover and poop at the same time.
Like, alternatively, they're not hovering, but somehow they're catching it or removing it from the toilet bowl to put it somewhere else, right? Those are the options.
It has to be. Those are the 2 options.
That's all that there is.
Or they just had to poop so bad that on the way down, some flew out. Which is understandable if it is liquidy. Not understandable by any means, but I can see it happening. More likely than a full poop, a full solid poop on the edge of a corner of a toilet seat.
Which is what you observed.
Actually, I didn't observe any of it. I refused to go in there. I told the manager. Manager goes in there. She tells me that there's shit all over the toilet. I believe it's revenge from the shrimp and grits lady. I think that she was mad.
Right? Who else would it be?
But it could have been anybody, honestly. It wasn't any of the men because it was in the women's restroom.
Which is somehow worse.
Yep. Then, so the numbers that they had taken earlier in the evening.
Oh my.
Each table had a number. And they went around and sang the days of Christmas. Is that what it's called on the first day of Christmas?
I don't know. Yeah.
You know.
If that's what I know what song, but I don't know if that's what it's called or not.
They went around and sang that, and each table sang the number that they had.
Did they know what their number was?
It was chaotic.
Right?
You know, they're not listening to the lady with the microphone. And so she says, hey, we're going to start singing this song. And so then they're like, oh, well, it's just, she'll start. Table 3's not ready. She starts over. And the servers are just sitting in the back, listening to people scream
over and over again.
And then have to start over. And then the lady on the microphone messes up because no one knows this word for word. We spent...
I feel like there should have been cue cards, some form of the lyrics.
Anything would have been nice. But they sang it all the way through. God bless them. And
eventually
they did make it all the way through. We handed out the awards for the best dressed. And by we, I don't mean me, just, them. And I was there to observe.
Mm-hmm. I feel like by the end of it, you probably felt like you were a part of the team.
I mean, yeah.
Unfortunately.
I will not be joining any team where we poop on the toilet seats, but that's fine. And then at the end, to wrap it all up, we did actually go through each 100 of the peoples there and introduce ourselves.
Oh, no.
So, when you're in a college course and it's 15 people and they're like, let's all stand up and introduce ourselves. That's how it was, but 100 people. And
did they say, tell me your name, where you're from, and a fun fact about yourself?
No, thank God. But they did say, tell me your name and how long you've been in position and how long you've been with the company. Okay. Every time somebody said 2 weeks, everybody would laugh like that was the funniest thing they've ever heard.
That's so rude.
But it happened so there's 100 of them, so I'd say it happened 30 times. A lot of people have only been there 2 weeks to 2 months.
Well, because some of them are shitting on toilets, so they don't have a lot of retention with their staff.
Yeah. Well, something tells me that the really seasoned employees are the ones shitting on the toilets.
Yeah, nobody asks for 3 plates of shrimp and grits if they're not seasoned employees.
That's true.
That don't also potentially poop on toilets.
When all that started happening, the singing and the introducing, like we all just hid in the back and then eventually they left. So I never found out if she was unhappy with the amount of desserts I gave her. But that was really fun.
I think it's so crazy that you spent an afternoon with 100 grown adults and I spent an afternoon with 16 3-year-olds, and it's very similar.
It is.
There was pooping on a toilet. There was wanting more food and being very unhappy with their server, not giving them enough food. I did have one pee while it was nap time, and I guess you probably didn't have nap time, but people might have fallen asleep during the 100 introductions.
I almost did, so.
Yeah. We also had multiple, like, this is my name introductions, so it's kind of the same, really. 3-year-olds, 100 business people.
Yeah.
At a lunch all together. Eerily similar.
Yeah. It was something. But no, it was that morning crowd.
They just were happy.
Bless them. And, you know, I doubt they'll be back. They complained about a lot of things. Like, they didn't like a lot. So.
That's disappointing. Because I'm sure the food was really delicious. The service was probably really great.
Yeah.
They're just buttheads.
I think that the thing about the shrimp and grits was they probably... Well, our shrimp and grits are, like, really good. They were, like... I think a lot of people say they're the best in town. The chicken was just roasted chicken. With, like, a little juice on top or gravy or whatever. They probably took a bite of the chicken and were like, oh, this it's just chicken. And then I took a bite of shrimp and grits. We're like, oh, these are so good. I need more of that. But that's not what you paid for, baby girl.
3 plates. My first thought was like, oh no, the first plate, she didn't get any because other people overserved themselves.
Could have been.
But then the second and then the third happened, so...
And I was also thinking maybe she thought everyone was going to get their own individual entrees, but it was family style. And her menu did in fact say family style. And also, if she was the host, she booked it.
She for sure knows.
So she should have known that.
Shrimp and Grits lady is the host lady?
Oh, yes. Who was also at my table. So it was
so much worse.
Yeah. I doubt she was the one who pooped on the toilet seat. She didn't seem like
she was the host. She wasn't.
But
she's best friends with the person that did.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it was revenge, best friend revenge, which is somehow worse than not best friend revenge. You know, like anything I would do for you is worse than something I would do for myself.
Perfect. So you had something to tell me about your work day. Your children.
Just about. Not quite about pooping, but very similar. There's a little boy that maybe has a pushing problem, and that's not very notable, but I put him in my lap because I was like, why are you pushing the whole world? That's not nice. So he sits in my lap and just immediately farts. And not a normal fart. Like I could feel like a bubble in his pants. Yeah.
Gross.
And I just think maybe he has some gassy problems because he also was sitting, the chairs that they sit at the table are plastic, and at some point he just like sat and leaned over and you just hear like a good come out.
Oh.
And just for such a small human, I feel like I hear it way too often. Yeah.
I wonder if he has like an intolerance to something. And
Maybe.
They're just not like...
They serve a lot of milk. There's milk with every meal.
He could have a lactose problem. Maybe that's why he's pushing people. His belly hurts. Get out of my way.
You know, you might have just solved everything. Yeah. I might try to ask.
Get him a Lactaid. Maybe he'll stop pushing.
I feel like this is candy.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of candy that's not... When I was a kid, I loved Flintstone vitamins.
Me too.
I can taste it in my mouth right now. I know what it tastes like. So good. And my mom would go like for walks down our road for exercise and leave us there. And I would wait until she left, climb up onto the countertops, reach into the cabinet and eat like 80 of them. maybe not 80, but a good handful. I just shove them in my
80
mouth.
to a small child, yeah.
And I would eat them, and I would just be like, oh. And
they were so good.
It was like a fix, and I put it back, and I'd wait, and they were so...
I can visualize, like, the exact top shelf cabinet, the exact spot that my mom would put them in, because I could not reach them, and none of my siblings could. So they were only allotted, you know, in the morning before we went to school is when we were allowed to have our vitamins. It was like a candy before you went to school.
Yes.
Also, slightly off topic, but not really. Did your mom ever have wax melts in her house? Like an open thing of melted wax?
Like the things you put in the little candle warmer thingy, Bob? At some point, yeah.
My mom did, and they were very hot. And me and my older sister would put our fingers in them.
Universal experience. Right? Me too.
Crazy that we have so many universal experiences. And just like let them, we would have wax fingers, wax hands, as much wax as we could get without burning ourselves. And then try to peel them off without making them not look like your finger anymore.
Yeah.
It was so satisfying.
And it would hurt so bad at first.
It would.
Because it would be so hot.
Yes.
But then if you just waited and put it back in.
I'm a grown adult and I have wax melts and I might go home and try it right now.
I have some plugged up now. Right now, we can do that. Part of the
Everybody watch.
No, yeah, I love doing that. I don't know why my mind went to this, but I got in trouble one time. And my mom's, like, tactic of parenting was like, don't do this. Bad thing will happen if you do this. Like,
okay.
One time I thought it was cool that I could take the light switch and put it in the middle, but the light would still be on. She'd be like, that'll catch the house on fire.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, dang, can't do that anymore.
Yeah. My dad did stuff like that too.
Yeah, and one of the things was me and my friend, Nikki, we would take ice cubes. And if you carved a design in the ice cube, poured salt on the ice cube, and held it on your skin, it would burn your skin into a scar. And we thought it was like a little a tattoo, if you will. And my mom found out we were doing that because we had them in multiple places of our bodies.
Right.
And she was like, you'll get skin cancer if you do that. And I never did it again. But now I realize she just didn't want me to scar my body up. And those are gone.
Burning your skin.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Where did we learn that?
I didn't do that. That's not a universal thing. For me, anyway. That's kind of cool. Wish I had known about that because I would have done it.
Yeah. That was almost like the... did you ever play the game in school where you took the eraser and did the hand thing? I did that. I think I have a
so many like mildly abusive things that we did to ourselves. The twisty, like where thingy. People would burn and put yeah.
Knuckles, was that one where you hit your knuckles with a pencil?
I don't think I did that one.
And then back to the vitamins, even in, I'm gonna say middle school, at my friend's house, her mom had vitamin bubble gum. And it was in a big, like, tub. Just gumballs. And I remember eating multiple. And I was in middle school.
How are they vitamins?
I don't know. I guess, like, whatever the juices you're getting out of them are vitamins and minerals. But they were so good. And what did that do to my body as a child, eating all of those vitamins?
That were really just candy.
Maybe I just peed them out. Like, the vitamins I didn't need, I just peed them out. And I have, like, women's, like, oh God, that made me feel real old going from Flintstone vitamin to women's
women's multivitamins.
They're not as good. They're not as good as Flintstones, unfortunately.
I mean, you can go back and try to find some.
Oh, I'm sure they still make them.
Probably not. They probably were truly just sugar candy things, like
probably
with a little bit of like
hopefully
orange juice, so they had vitamin C.
That's true.
Just a little bit. My dad told me that if we touched the ceiling of his car, that the roof was going to fall down. That was his scary thing.
I haven't heard that one. That one's new.
Specific to my father.
Okay.
And it wasn't that the entire metal roof was going to come down, because that's how I envisioned it as a small child. It's that the like fabric that covered it was going to fall down, because he did have a car at some point in his lifetime that it fell down, which I found out in my 20s. I didn't know. Okay. Before then, that's what he meant. But he didn't describe it well. So, like, 7-year-old Courtney was like, if I touch it, it's going to come crashing down on me.
You're going to get crushed by the top of the car.
The whole ceiling of the car. Everything, the roof is going to fall down on me.
Yeah, I can see that. Mm-hmm. I think everyone's parents told them if you turn like the light on in the car, the cop was going to pull us over.
Yes. And my dad did that, but it was because he was overstimulated by the lights and he couldn't see the road.
I don't think
or
that's
because
illegal.
he has astigmatism and he couldn't see the road in the dark.
You know, I don't think I can see the road in the dark. The more time that goes on, the less I can see in the dark.
I don't think I have difficulty seeing in the dark, but I do have an eye thing.
Matter of fact.
Thank you. I am legally blind in my left eye.
Matter of fact, I'm blind in my left eye.
So I do think that my vision isn't as great in the dark. Not to where it inhibits me from driving successfully, but to where I do pay more attention in the dark than I do during daytime.
Yeah.
Also, deer. Texas, no deer.
Really?
Not where I'm from.
Oh.
Here, I saw them on my way over here tonight. And it wasn't in the evening. Like, it was daylight and I saw a deer, which I love. It feels so magical. I feel like I'm blessed by the deer.
I saw a deer in the daylight today, too. In
See?
the field. But, yes, for reference, we are in Tennessee. There's so many deer right now.
There are.
And they're alive. They're dead.
Some are unalived.
They have moved on via the vehicles that drive down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And they're everywhere.
They are.
And you know, it has to do something with it being cold, I guess, because I didn't see them like that in the summertime.
Mm-mm.
I think in the cold they just move around. That's something we can learn.
This is a part of our new segment. Things we can learn.
Yeah, so we're going to do a segment. Let's learn something new today.
Why do we see more deer in the winter than not in the winter?
In fancy podcasts, there's always a third person over there.
It's like their editor and stuff.
And they like pull it up to go with it. One day. Also,
was your typing ASMR?
Yes.
Because that sounded satisfying to me and I don't even have the headphones on.
Yeah, it sounded good. You might see more deer in the winter because they're more active. They're looking for food and they're more easier to spot. That makes a lot of sense because there's
less
not
green.
A lot of green stuff.
I was thinking it had to do something with the greenery, but I didn't think about them looking for more food and stuff.
Yeah. They're more active in the winter because they're using more energy to maintain their body temperature.
Oh.
They're also more likely to cross your path looking for food because it's scarce in the winter. Mm-hmm. They'll flock to areas with more food, like fields.
This just makes me want to go put out a bunch of food for the deer.
Yeah. Deer will often spend a lot of time in a confined area called yarding up. Okay. To conserve energy and consume available resources.
Aw, I'm happy for the deer when they get to yard up.
Yard up. Yeah, so I guess that's basically what it is. There's like less food, less greenery, so
we see them more and they have to move more.
Yeah. That was our learning something new today.
Look at us.
Beautiful. I love the knowledge. Mm-hmm. I fully know you're doing this because you love me. Not because you want to.
No, I want to.
So.
Primarily because I want to sit and hang out and talk with you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Me too. But also I think our talks are so good.
They are so
and
good.
People should hear them. Not all of them. But you know, some of them. Oh my gosh, Outlander's on tonight. Hell yeah. Oh, can I tell you what happened in Outlander?
Yeah.
Are you going to watch Outlander?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I won't tell you. Because it shocked me.
Really?
Yes. Shook me to my core.
I just think eventually, especially now that the last season is coming out.
Yeah.
I feel like
there's closure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's very good. The first season, the first 2 seasons of Outlander, amazing. Best seasons that there are, you know? And I guess that's partly because you get to watch Claire and Jamie fall in love. Mm-hmm. You get to see that. And then afterwards, it kind of gets it's not boring to me because I still really enjoy the show, but it does like slow down for me. They picked it back up.
Wow.
And apparently it's still all the stuff that she wrote in the books.
I didn't know they were books.
Stuff. Yeah. There's one on here somewhere. I have the first one. I've never read them, though.
That's okay.
Apparently, so, trigger warning, Outlander is a little assaulty. And apparently the books are worse than the show, which is hard for me to even understand. Because the show is, like, people are getting assaulted left and right.
Yeah, I don't know how I would read that. Because I feel like my imagination is much worse than like me just watching a TV show.
But Yellow Jackets. We can talk about Yellow Jackets. But you should watch Yellow Jackets too. Okay. The second season's coming out February. Valentine's Day.
Oh, how nice.
The premise is... I tried to get Lainey to watch it. She refused. It's too gory for her. Are you okay with gore? Mm-hmm. It's not super gory, but it's got... If you can watch Game of Thrones, you can watch this.
Okay.
The premise is it's a high school soccer team, girls soccer team, and they are going to like nationals or whatever, and they all get on a plane to go. Plane goes down in like the wilderness.
Seems so like, cool.
Yeah. See, I'm really into like the survival-y stuff. I don't know. I really like that. It seems like Alaska wilderness maybe because there's snow. It's cold, but there's also like a spring type of situation going on. So yeah, I can't remember where it is, or if we even know. We might not even know. But it goes down. All the adults die, except for one coach, and he's like a 24-year-old, so he's not even that much older.
Not an adult.
No, and so it's the girls' soccer team. The one male coach who's like 24, and then two other boys that are in high school. And the only reason that they were on the plane is because their dad was maybe the other coach, I think.
Oh, okay.
But dad died when the plane went down, so it's just them. And they, I don't know, it's like almost got like this supernatural feel to it because they can't get out. They've tried multiple times to leave or find a way out, and something happens. And so then they all, like, start, like, dissolving into, like, a little bit of madness.
Oh, no.
And because they were, like, starving and trying to survive, and they're teenagers, and maybe there's some cannibalism thrown in the mix.
Well, if they can't get out, they can't find food. Mm-hmm. Crazy.
So, like, one of the girls, she's going out, and she's, like, hunting their meat, and then the other one is, like...
so she's Farah.
Processing the meat in a way. Skinning the animals and preparing it,
Gross.
you know?
Ice Planet Barbarian vibes? A little bit?
Yeah. In the survival type of way, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not in the breeding kink type of way. Because there's only one boy, which does get weird at one point.
And he's older, so...
Yeah, well, the older guy is the coach. There's no weirdness there. But,
that's good.
There's two other boys that were in high school, but one of them's like, I think he's the little brother, so he's like too young for anything to be weird, but there is one high school boy there. So, you know, that can be weird, but, you know, oh my gosh.
And they're teenagers doing this?
They're teenagers, but also it's bouncing back and forth from teenager them, present day them. So you get to see kind of who survived.
Oh,
but
man.
You don't know. I think that we don't know everyone that survived yet. But they're only showing us like the 5 main girls, I think, in present day. But there could have been more survivors. They just haven't showed us them yet.
I need to watch this.
And everybody, it's so good. Like, it's literally so freaking good. It's on Amazon Prime. The present day people, everybody's like, even still, they're like 35, maybe 40. I don't know. and they've like moved on with their lives, and people are still hounding them for like what happened out there, what happened in the wilderness, and they're like so like wishy-washy about it, shady about it, like we don't know what happened
because
out there.
shady stuff happened,
and it's so suspenseful. You don't know what happened. They keep bouncing back and forth, and the girl who played the sister in Ever After, the nice one,
okay,
the sweeter one, she's older version of one of the girls, and I love that actress. She's so good. And also, let me just Google the cast before I Christina Ricci, yes, you know, she was Wednesday Addams. She's one of the older girls. Melanie Linsky, that's the girl's name that I was talking about. This the sister.
Let me see.
Oh, yeah. You'll know her as soon as you see her. Can you see that for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also in 2.5 Men.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But she's not. She's Australian, right?
Yes. But she has, you know, her American accent going on. Also,
Which is so good.
Ella Purnell. She's in a bunch of stuff recently. Have you ever seen this actress? I love her eyeballs.
Okay.
Like, she's so interesting looking. She's the voice of the new Arcane and Fallout, like, animated series. I love that actress as well. I've seen her in a couple things. Elijah Wood, the guy who's in Doppet. He's in there. Steven Kruger. That's the coach. The guy who's playing the coach. He's in the originals.
He is. I did watch the originals.
He's the coach. So suspenseful.
There's only one season, though.
There's only one season, and that does suck, and it's unfortunate. But if you started now, you would definitely be done by
the time that the next season comes out.
Valentine's Day. So then you have 2 seasons.
My problem is that I will watch one season of a show, and then the next season comes out a year later, sometimes less. But by the time that the next season comes out, I've watched multiple other shows. So then I've forgotten what's happened. And sometimes those recaps are not detailed enough for me to remember fully. So then I feel like I have to rewatch the first season, and I just don't have the energy for it. So then I won't rewatch the first season, and then I won't watch the second season, and then I just don't ever watch it again. And then I'm sad.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't even start a show that only has one season because I'm like, oh, I'll wait until the whole thing comes out.
I know. I'm that way too, but I will usually rewatch the first season because I like TV.
I do too. But I also
like
enjoy like watching shows that are not shows I fully have to pay attention to. Yeah. Like something that I can do something else while it's going on.
Yeah. Well, you can't do that with Yellow Jackets because it sounds intense.
Like you can't.
There's lots of things going on, but it is so good. I was kind of worried because when I watched it the first season, I think I watched it like when it just came out. No one was talking about it. I was so scared it was going to get canceled and I wouldn't get to like know what happened out there. I also need to know what happened out there. But what's really good is the first episode, like the first shot when you start the episode, the first shot is like this girl, you only see her from behind, so you can't see her face, and she's running through the woods, and she's like screaming, like trying to get away, and it turns out they're hunting her. So they do a thing where you have to like pick who gets the short straw, basically. That's who we're gonna eat today. And she's running through the woods and you don't know who it is, and she falls into the pit, and she's Pit Girl. That's what everybody calls her on the internet. We don't know who she is, and we also don't know. They start doing some like really weird, like they're wearing some costumes, as you could maybe say. So they're covered with masks. You don't know who like the Queen Bee is, basically. So like, oh, I need to know. It's so good.
I need to figure it out.
Yeah, I gotta know who it is. It does upset me deeply.
I feel like our streaming services are showing us different shows.
Maybe.
Because you always have something different that you've watched that I've never even heard of. And I feel like there's
the other night, I never heard of
there's shows that I've watched that you've never heard of. Like I think our algorithms are super different.
Yeah, no.
That word got in, like,
it's a hard one.
Like the back of my throat.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably because I'm searching, like, people dying. Despair. Speaking of canceled shows.
We're just going on canceled shows.
Oh God, what's that show? It's got Jennifer Love Hewitt in it. She's the client. The Client List.
I know what you're talking about.
I also love Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Oh, me too. What was the ghost show that she was in for forever?
Ghost Whisperer.
So good.
Such a good show. Yeah, The Client List.
Look at you.
So, let me tell you something about The Client List.
I've also watched that. I don't remember it, but I know I watched it.
She is a masseuse.
Yes.
And she gives happy endings to fabulously hot men.
Yeah.
Which would not be real life. They would all be disgusting.
For sure.
But, in this show, they're all...
Man, I might just go watch that again.
Oh my God, it's so good. You should.
After I dip my fingers in wax.
After you and eat a handful of Flintstone vitamins. It's so good, but they canceled it, and there's a plot twist at the end, or a cliffhanger, not really a plot twist, cliffhanger, and so that sucks. But there's also a movie, which is almost exactly like the season, but it's shorter because it's a movie.
Okay.
And not as good.
Does it have a better ending?
I can't tell you. It's been so long since I watched it, actually.
That's okay.
I know I liked the show better. Probably because you get more.
I think that is such a bizarre part of our reality, that people remake stuff that's already been made.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's being remade multiple times. Not just like one time. Multiple times. That's crazy to me. Why are we remaking something that's been made just because it's a different...
actor...
company?
Yeah.
Right? Like, universe? I don't know. That's crazy. Why are we doing that? The live actions of the Disney movies...
Yeah.
Which some are wonderful and beautiful. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah.
But why is it remade? Is it so that they're just making more money, right? That's all it is.
I saw something one day. I don't know if it was on TikTok or something. But it was like, it's guaranteed money. This isn't like a company trying to produce something that they're not sure is going to work out. Mm-hmm. They know it's for sure money. Mm-hmm. So...
why would they not do it?
Why would they not? And, I don't hate it. Like, a lot of people are upset about the new, like, Harry Potter remake on HBO because it's not going to have, like, the original kids. Mm-hmm. Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Like, I don't care. Mm-hmm. I will be consuming it.
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I will be watching it. I do, like, I kind of hate, like, so, like, J.K. Rowling is so, like, problematic now, so that sucks. Mm-hmm. I feel like, almost like I'm not supposed to enjoy Harry Potter anymore, but I kind of just have to separate it in my mind. Mm-hmm. Like, this universe from the person who created it, I guess. But not even just Harry Potter, just like anything. Like you said, Spider-Man. Yeah, they're doing it because people are going to watch it. Yeah. They're going to make money off
that. Makes sense. I do think a movie into a TV series makes sense. Because then you can give it more time. Mm-hmm. And that makes sense. A TV series into a movie? For why? And then a movie into another movie? So silly.
So silly. But that's okay. So many Spider-Mans. We tried to start... I don't think I've seen the most recent Spider-Man. But then I was like, Tom Holland.
Yeah.
I've seen some of them. There's like 3 or 4. I know I've seen at least the first one.
I have seen all of them.
Okay.
But because when I was on an international flight to Europe, they were on it. And I was like, oh, I haven't seen this before. I must watch it. And then proceeded to watch all 3 of them in a row from like Dallas to Paris.
That's so good though. That's a great time.
It was such a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love
And they give you wine with every meal. So I just had my little glass of wine, which is the cheapest red wine you can possibly imagine, but somehow very, very delicious because you're in the air. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like ginger ale. I don't drink ginger ale ever, but in the air, delicious, scrumptious treat.
Tell me why. Universal thing we do.
I don't know. It's so good up there.
It is. Yeah. I will always get a ginger ale on a flight.
And I like, there's Dr. Pepper. There's other things that I like Coke. I'm getting that ginger ale.
I don't drink sodas. I will get a ginger ale
Yeah.
every time if they say, do you want a drink? And it's free in a flight. Ginger ale. Every time.
And I love a Biscoff cookie with it. Or when they give you the seasoned pretzels.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
And they're so petite.
They're so
a little
small.
petite pretzel.
I wish I could have 4 bags of them. Because there's not enough. But I think that's why they're so good. You only get that little taste.
They're so good. Man, I need you to go on an international flight so you can tell me what you get to eat. Because sometimes there are nami noms. Sometimes they are not. But usually it's like a cheesy pasta situation, which we love pasta. So
Yeah. Well, I'm going on one.
I know.
Going to Ireland. And then we're going to France. Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
Uh-huh.
I'll go wherever you
That's where
want.
we'll start. That's just where the cheap flights are.
So fun.
Cheap flight to France and then the world.
Hell yeah. Do you have anything else you'd like to do you have any questions
To address.
for me? Do you have any questions about the client list for me? Oh, I heard some quotes this week that I would like to tell you.
Okay.
This is when maybe like Monday, I was like really in my I'm gonna be a better human type of vibe, and so I was listening to like self-help podcasts, which I'm still in that vibe, but not as much as Monday. Life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free. Peter Crone. He said that on the podcast, and I was like, holy shit. I like that. And then I heard this on TikTok.
That's okay. It doesn't matter where you heard it.
Yeah. I've never been disliked by someone I would want to trade places with.
I saw that. I saw that somewhere.
Yeah.
Where it was basically like, do you like the way that they live their life? Then why are you offended by the way that they feel about you?
Also, before we end this, we got to talk about cleaning the ocean. That's on the list. So, Courtney just went on a cruise recently, and she has a lovely take.
Yeah.
Let's
So,
hear it.
on the cruise, it was very apparent in some of the lower income countries, I don't know how to appropriately say that they just had trash in their water in the ocean, because I'm assuming that potentially people from the cruise ships, people from other touristy things, they leave trash. And obviously our economy and the way that we live is trashy. People are not, like, there's a lot of consumption and a lot of trash being made. So my thought is that in order for people to go on a cheap cruise, which we all love things that cost less money or potentially are free, any person that goes on a cruise ship, like say you go on a 5-day cruise and you say that 2 of your 5 days you're going to spend like 5 to 8 hours cleaning. The rest of the trip is free. Or it's just like super duper cheap, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can get a higher room, a balcony room for like $100 instead of like $1,000+.
And that's just like, in theory, like just cleaning up the shores of some beautiful place.
Which is so beautiful.
Yeah.
There's just trash.
There's just trash.
And you would be helping
Such a hot take.
you would be helping wildlife. You would be helping the people that actually live there. Yeah. You would be helping yourself, because ultimately it comes back
better.
around. You would feel better.
You would feel so much better.
And you'd be eating all your food, eating your ice cream, and just being like, oh, this is so much more delicious because I helped the planet out today.
Yeah, I did something good today.
And I got such an inexpensive cruise ship.
And I saved some money.
So much money you would save.
I love
because you
that.
spent a day cleaning.
If I were rich, I would implement that. I would buy a cruise ship, and that would be the thing.
Yeah. Which I think is valid.
If people, I think that there's still a certain amount of people or a certain type of people who would not do that. They would rather pay more money and go on like the normal cruise where they didn't have to do that.
Which is okay.
Which is okay.
You can still do that.
Yeah.
But that's the part that's so good about this, is that there are certain people like me that would totally go and spend half the money or none of the money if I had to clean a day or two of the cruise.
Yeah. And so you would, on your vacation, be surrounded by people
that are good people.
That are good people.
And then you would have a better trip because then you would sit in the hot tub all day and be like, we cleaned the planet today together.
That'd be so fun.
I would do it.
Nice.
I would book myself a cruise like that. The week after, I booked myself an expensive cruise. So I would pay the money
2-week cruise
to go on the cruise with the bad people. Not bad, but just not the clean people.
Right.
And then the following week, to like recharge and be a better person, I would go for free and clean up the earth.
But you would probably still get the type of people who are like lazy and they would say they would be cleaning and...
No.
And
Part
really
of my
wouldn't.
plan
is
that there's like an allotted bag or something.
You
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not like,
Pounds.
it's not the bag. Sorry, it's not the amount of time you spend cleaning. It's the weight of the bag, or it's the size of the bag that you have to fill. You have to fill 5 bags in a day or something. Because then you could be super duper fast and you can get done quick and then you can go back to your drinking.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the faster you clean, the faster you get to go back to...
Which would be so satisfying.
And relax and vacation. Oh my god. Somebody rich out there,
please
make that happen. I will be booking passage.
Mr. Musk.
Mr. Musk.
That was the first rich person that I thought of. Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway would do something like that, actually.
You know who I think about a lot? Adele.
For why?
I just, I think she's really beautiful. I think her
they're wild.
music is nice.
It is.
And it's kind of moving to me personally.
Mm-hmm.
I think she seems like a good person. Not that I've done any research. I don't know many things about her.
Okay.
But she seems like it. And I feel like she'd be the type of person that if I walked by her on the side of the street and I was just like, I know who you are, she would be like, yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would go about our lives just remembering that interaction.
Yeah.
And I like that.
I like that. No, I like her too. She seems very sweet. I saw that. I saw a video of her at one of her concerts, and she saw the man that delivered her child in the audience, and she was like, oh, and she like ran up to him and like hugged him and loved on him, and it was so sweet.
Maybe weird.
Oh yeah, why is he there? He loves Adele, I guess.
He's seen a lot of her. Yeah. He probably loves a lot of her.
Well, yeah, he's probably like, I got to
deliver
receive
her baby.
This package from her. Sorry.
Do not take that out. Do not take that out. It just surprised me. I loved it.
Sorry.
That's what was so good about it. That's your TikTok clip.
I watched this podcast called Brooke and Connor Make a Podcast. I just love the way that woman talks. She's just effortlessly so funny. I don't know. I feel like...
What did you just say?
Effortlessly so funny? Effortlessly so funny?
There you go.
Effortless. What did I say? Effortless.
Effortlessly
so funny.
Effortless.
So sorry. All right.
You are effortlessly so funny.
No.
Look at you.
Okay. I think that's all we have for you guys today, unless you have anything you'd like to add.
No, I'm very happy.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that's all we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed our first podcast. It was so fun. Thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah.
I stream on Twitch if you want to watch me play some video games. I also post TikToks. Courtney has an Instagram. She is not online, and that is unfortunate, but that's okay.
Maybe
I will
this
fill her
will
in.
Just like put the buzz in my ear, and I will get a TikTok. I doubt it.
And you know what? I don't recommend. Because the brain rot is real. But anyways, the plan is to have this edited and posted on Monday. So hopefully we'll have a new episode every Monday. Thanks for hanging out. That was so fun. Okay, bye.